let's move on. This is a hilarious thing that Krystal and I were both kind of obsessed with yesterday.
Correct.
Let me share, put the context. There is fat acceptance. TikTok is something I've become, unfortunately, very familiar with. It's a major social trend amongst the quote unquote teens. Now, I will say, if that's an organic movement, I think that's fine. I think it's abhorrent and terrible and unhealthy. But, you know, as long as it's organic, so be it. It's just another sociological thing that we all have to work out. There is, however, been a recent trend of elite institutions trying to share this ideology. Now, this has now happened where the Los Angeles School Unified District shared a, quote, food neutrality video on its Instagram. Now, why does that matter? As you said previously in the beginning of the show, Los Angeles is one of the largest school districts in the United States. You know, hundreds of thousands of children being educated here. Nutritional guidelines in schools is a huge impact on overall child nutrition. Something I'm personally watching very closely, the Biden administration actually holding the very first White House conference on nutrition in like 6 years, happening at the White House in 2 weeks. Now, the reason that that matters is there's been a lot of debate about nutritional guidelines by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration. Obviously, I think those guidelines are insane and ridiculous. And the question is, are they going to revise them, or are they going to bow to some of this ideology? Are they going to move in a health direction, or are they going to make it ideological? So this possibly could be a harbinger of things to come.
Let me just say that some of the guidelines also for years and years have been impacted by the food industry.
Yes, by the sugar and drug industry.
Yeah.
The sugar and food industry,
yes.
Which culminates in this video, and a perfect example of what I fear the most, which is what we see here in this video is a quote-unquote food neutrality talk by these TikTokers that includes a nutritionist. Now, the nutritionist in this video, we're gonna play the full video for you, effectively says that caring about what you eat is bad and that there's no such thing as good food and bad food. What the video neglects to say is that the nutritionist, who goes by literal black nutritionist, talks about quote unquote systems of oppression and all of this, is a senior nutrition scientist at Mondelez International, spun off from Kraft Foods, and makes the foods like Chips Ahoy, Oreo cookies, Sour Patch Kids, basically all sugary junk food and snacks.
Things, but not good for you.
With that knowledge, now watch this video and see how much of an op that it is.
I got us donuts. Those are so bad for you. Oh no, are they moldy? I mean, are they poisoned? Are you allergic? No, I'm just saying. You're judging my food choices based on a false standard of health again, aren't you? Guilty.
Diet culture, fat phobia, and systems of oppression have created false hierarchies of food, and it shows up everywhere.
For instance, harmful thought patterns like earning food through exercising, or that dessert is the reward for the punishment of eating vegetables.
Remember that you do not need to earn food.
We are all incorrectly taught from a young age that our size, and therefore the foods that we eat, are markers of our self-worth. Moralizing food can lead to harmful relationships with food and disordered eating.
Instead of focusing on good and bad choices, try to approach food with neutrality in mind.
The only foods that are bad for you are foods that contain allergens, poisons, and contaminants, or food that is spoiled or is otherwise inedible.
Eat without guilt, regardless of what society says.
Eat without guilt, regardless of what society says. This is literally a corporate op in order to normalize like eating junk food. By the way,
using social justice language to run a corporate op to be like, eat our Oreos.
Well,
buy more Oreos.
The crazy thing, Krystal, throw this next one up there on the screen, which is that part of her job description is, quote, innovation opportunities and driving the scientific evidence strategy to promote brands and support the business. As in, to use her, quote, black nutritionist label to try and normalize amongst this growing movement the idea that there's no such thing as good and bad food.
And here's the thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think that people should feel good about themselves. I don't think that if you are overweight or struggling in this department that you're a bad person. I think that part of like fat acceptance, body, I think that's such a positive thing. And also the fact that the like body standards now are different from even when I was in high school, like just being like skinny is not the only thing that is now seen as desirable. I think that is a wonderful, beautiful thing. I think it is flat out evil to do what this lady is doing and lie to people about what is good for them and what is not. And this is like actually really old strategy
this is
in
tobacco
terms of
shit.
So,
Yeah.
and this is actually part of why the federal health guidelines are bad, because they bought into this notion that was pushed by, the sugar and the soft drink industries, et cetera, that, it's just calories in, calories out. It doesn't matter where the calories come from or what they are. It's all neutral. And so you don't have to worry about if it's sugar versus if it's like, a vegetable or something else that's going to be healthier for you. All you have to worry about is overall calories. So an Oreo can be just as good a part of your diet as something else ultimately is. So they're taking this very old strategy that they've employed with a lot of money backing it and a lot of fake research for years and decades, and they're now putting this like woke social justice label on it to try to make it sell in new era, and it is grotesque to see.
Yeah, it's really bad. And look, I've been, obviously people probably talk about it too much, my own health journey. For calories in, calories out, look, it can work for weight loss. If you want to be able to incorporate an Oreo because you're going to literally lose your mind from eating a quote-unquote whole diet, as long as you track every single thing, it's fine. Like, it's not going to kill you. That being said, don't delude yourself that it has the same micronutrient profile as something else that you're going to eat.
Look, if people
focusing on that is actually probably the most
people should eat
important thing.
however the hell they want to eat. Like, I eat whatever the hell I want to eat. Like, I just think that people should have accurate information and be able to make good health choices so that they're empowered. And I also think we need to make it, obviously my like broader societal critique is we need to make it a lot easier and more affordable to make those good choices. But you're right that the school nutrition, it's a big thing. And it's funny because, there was
amount of kids get their their main meal from school. That's why the school lunch program is one of the most important programs in the entire country.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think they just went back. During the pandemic, they made it free for everybody across the country, which I really supported. And now they've rolled that back. But my kids, if they get the school breakfast, for example, oftentimes it's like a honey bun or like a Pop-Tart. I mean, it's just like the worst crap you could possibly feed a child in the morning and sets you up for. This is why calories in, calories out is such a sort of like basic and wrong premise, because what does that set you up? You get a sugar spike, then you're going to crash, you're going to feel like shit for the whole day, and you're not going to be set up to like have a good day of learning with that type of quote unquote fuel at the beginning of the day. So anyway, this is awful and bad and needs to be called out.
I'll say calories in, calories out is an important principle for weight loss, because I see a lot of people out there eating lots of steaks being like, I'm just going to lose weight because I'm going on a carnivore. It's like, dude, well, if you're eating 3,000 calories of fat, like, you're still going to get fat. Now, for health, it is not the same thing at all. So you got to put those two things apart.
Yeah.
And I think that again, it's nuanced. It's difficult. Also, your genetics play a massive role into it. I got my blood tested. I have, big problems, pre-diabetic. All my grandparents are diabetic. Like, I have Indians and South Asians in general are much more predisposed to that. The stuff that spikes my blood sugar, not going to be the same thing as spikes your blood sugar. So a lot of this is genetic. A lot of it is individual differences. A lot of it depends on metabolism. But, a lot of this stuff, what drives me crazy too, is about food and more. It's like, it's all based around a goal of you want to feel good and then you want to live a long time.
Yeah.
And when you think about it that way, and you take out immediate weight loss and immediate all stuff and put it on a 30, 40-year time horizon, obviously eating a donut all the time is bad. It's like, this is where it's ludicrous. Now, as you said, look, people shouldn't feel pressure or feel quote unquote bad about themselves. But yeah, maybe you got some work to do. Or maybe if you don't care, that's fine. It's a free country.
Yeah, if
you can
your
do what
choice
you want.
is like, I want to indulge in these foods and I don't really give a shit.
But then you should know,
That's
like,
fine.
you're probably not going to live as long. You're probably, not going to be able to pick up your grandkids whenever you're old. Like, these are all things I really want to do, so I'm going to care about. You have to give people accurate info as to what they want and what they're actually choosing to do, and not cover up reality. It's like, that is when we start to get into dangerous territory.
Accurate info without judgment or shame shouldn't be a hard thing to accomplish. But there's so much money in this industry, and that's how you end up with just like actually like evil insanity. Like,
and I'm really worried about that nutrition conference. I fear that they're going to cave to the drug industry again. There's a new nutrition study that's going viral right now, specifically about these fake guidelines about how like cereal and Pop-Tarts are healthier for you than whole vegetables. Again, based on junk science. Funded by the food
Often funded
industry.
by the industry.
And so if that science, which has been widely accepted by some people outside of like the online sphere, if that gets accepted by the government and gets included on like dietaryguidelines.gov, which they release every 5 years, look, that determined school health guideline. I mean, there's also downstream effects that this ends up having on a population-wide basis. So that's why we care about it.
Cable news is ripping us apart, dividing the country, making it impossible to function as a society, and making it impossible to know just what is true and what is false. But the good news is they are failing and they know it.
That is why we're building something new, a new mainstream, a healthier one, something more trustworthy, something that we are going to need in one of the most pivotal times in American history. We are building up here for the midterms, for the upcoming presidential election, but we need your help. So if you can help us out by becoming a premium member today at breakingpoints.com, we're trying to change America for the better and the entire world.
So what are you waiting for, guys? Go to breakingpoints.com and sign up and help us build a new mainstream.